Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Coming up tonight, former Cabinet Minister LANISHA ROLLE breaks her silence. Government seeking leave to appeal the Shantytown ruling. Six-figure payouts for the families of healthcare workers who died from COVID-19. And we go under the sea on World Oceans Day. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm KRISTINA DRAGOVICH. Topping news tonight, Seabreeze MP LANISHA ROLLE defending her short stint as a cabinet minister and member of parliament today, saying she took a beating and implied that she was not treated fairly, especially as a woman in cabinet. ROLLE didn't hold back as she sought to clear her name while contributing to the budget debate. Kyle Joaquin reports.
Yes, I got a beating for helping them.
The Seabreeze MP says she took a beating taking the blame for things as Minister of Social Services as well as Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture when really it was the government making certain decisions, leaving her to take the fall.
For the record, LANISHA ROLLE did not stop the RISE program. The program expired according to the Inter-American Development Bank, and the government of the Bahamas, under the circumstances, did not find it prudent to renew that particular program. Perhaps, to be truthful, I can't keep taking the fall, Pastor Mark. I can't keep doing it.
And while she says she'll no longer take the fall, she sought to clear the air on her being snubbed for renomination in Seabreeze for the FNM. She said she wanted to, but the FNM didn't allow her. A move she says she's seen happen to several other MPs and one she thinks is unfair.
Mr. Speaker, it is my belief that the true test of democracy would have been to allow the constituents to say whether or not they wish for the MP to return. However, there are those likened to King Darius's advisors who are determined that I will not return as an MP for whatever their reasons. And while they have their say, I'm crazy to believe, I am fully persuaded that the King of Glory will have his way.
ROLLE eventually resigned from cabinet amid rumors of her building a house in Western New Providence and claims that the party would not renominate her. But ROLLE said the truth is she's felt disrespected and treated unfairly, even in cabinet, because she is a woman.
The first thing I was told in politics was that your seniority is based on your election or appointment to political life, and there's a pecking order. Not so for the women, ma'am. We are where we are. It is what it is.
ROLLE spoke of the changes and programs she brought to the two ministries she served as minister for. Touching on the actual budget, she said there are certain areas that frankly were not given enough money and called on more to be done to help the poor.
People who are unable to work due to the pandemic need help to pay their rent and their mortgage and to purchase school books, etc. for the children. That's their cry on the road.
Well, Minister of Public Works Desmond Bannister sounding off on a Supreme Court judge's decision to order the government to stop further demolition in shantytowns on Abaco unless it has court approval. This as the Attorney General asserted the government intends to mount a challenge. Jasmine Brown reports.
It was the Public Works Minister who had the strongest reaction to that court decision, as he described it as simply silly.
We can't protect ourselves now. It is nonsense. It's not what the paper is written on.
Implementation of the policy was halted after an injunction banning the demolition of shantytowns on New Providence and parts of Abaco was granted by Supreme Court Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson that same year. However, the government started demolition of more than 50 farm shantytown homes that were erected after the 2018 ruling. In her ruling on Monday, Grant Thompson said prior to any further demolition taking place on Abaco, evidence that the homes selected for demolition are in fact in breach of the law should first be presented to and approved by the court to ensure fair play.
It is now open season for anybody to go on any land and put up any structure they want and not comply with the law. To enforce the law, the government is going to have to make an application to a judge. You know how silly that sounds?
Grant Thompson also said in the view of the court, Dorian was used as a shield to remove shantytown structures without reference to the court.
I'm concerned about the environmental degradation. I'm concerned about unregulated buildings. I'm concerned that We're in the hurricane season again, and we saw what Dorian did with shanty communities in Abaco. We were there. We saw it.
Attorney General Carl Bethel says the Minnis administration will not rest its case.
I met with counsel involved in the matter this morning as well. We respectfully disagree with the reasoning of the learned judge. We respectfully disagree with the conclusions arrived at by the learned judge, and we will be appealing or seeking leave from the judge to appeal on the basis of urgency.
Reporting for R News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The families of 4 public health care workers who died from COVID-19 will receive a life insurance benefit of $100,000. Health Minister Renward Wells says the government is in the process of making those payments.
We had 4 individuals who are part of the healthcare system, the government's healthcare system, who succumbed to COVID in the course of their duties. Those 4 individuals, the government is in the process of paying that $400,000 directly to the families who are deserving of it.
Wells added the government will make the promised honorarium payments to healthcare workers who volunteered their time and services at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic.
There's another $600,000 that we were going to be giving to about 150 individuals. In the first instance, we're seeking to do that by the end of this month.
Wells says the honorarium would apply to all frontline healthcare workers, but not everyone may get the promised $5,000. Well, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention moving the Bahamas from a level 4 travel health notice to a less serious level 3. Back in April, the CDC advised travelers to avoid traveling to the Bahamas. The latest notice advises travelers who intend to visit the Bahamas to ensure they are fully vaccinated. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar calling the news exciting.
Now, they say when you come to the Bahamas, it's better if you get vaccinated. And we completely agree with that. And we would like to encourage, of course, as many people to come and visit our islands, but come vaccinated. Not only does that protect them, but that protects our people as well. Since once vaccinated, you are over 90% less likely to transfer or to pass on the virus from yourself to someone else.
And it was a royal welcome to Nassau Harbor for Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas, the first cruise ship set to home port in Nassau. The Adventure of the Seas and its fully vaccinated crew will set sail from Nassau beginning on June 12th. Passengers over 18 are also required to be fully vaccinated. And following pushback from Spanish Wells residents, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar confirming Crystal cruises will no longer be stopping in Spanish Wells. Officials are now looking for a new port just 3 weeks before the ship sets sail. Berthany McDermott has that.
A few weeks before Crystal Cruises is set to begin home porting in the Bahamas, Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar says Crystal Cruises will be rerouted from Spanish Wells to Eleuthera. The decision came amid fierce pushback from locals.
The persons in North Eleuthera at those respective islands simply were not interested in cruise passengers coming to their island. They feel that they're in a different niche. And, you know, we spoke to them and this is the position that they've articulated to us. So fair enough. We'll look for another location either in Eleuthera or in another island.
Back in March, Crystal Cruises announced it had made the Bahamas a home port and its Serenity ship was set to sail on July 3rd. Its luxury Bahamas Escape package includes an exclusively Bahamian 7-day cruise beginning in either Nassau or Bimini, then moving into Harbor Island, Great Long Island, and San Salvador. Area MP Ricky Mackey told residents Monday evening that government wouldn't force anything on them.
I'm saying to you tonight that this administration is not going to force nothing down Spanish Wells' throats.
With only 3 weeks until the official launch of the cruise, de Aguilar says officials are now looking to other ports.
Obviously, we have to look at other islands to see what can in a very short time now, because we're 3 to 4 weeks from the launch of this cruise. What we can, and in conjunction with Crystal, because this is really what they need to do, what they can put together in a relatively short time.
The tourism minister added that Crystal Cruises was very different from other cruises that presented to the Bahamas. He made it clear there will be no delays.
Absolutely not. I think that You know, they've already got Bimini sorted. They've got Long Island sorted. They've got Exuma sorted. They've got San Salvador sorted. This is just one final stop that they need to get sorted in order to complete the itinerary. I'm sure we'll move with haste to make that happen.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Partly cloudy skies in the capital today. Greg Thompson has the latest over in the Weather Center.
Thanks, Christina, and welcome everybody on our Tuesday evening first look at weather. We've been having some warm evenings and another one setting up for us on the outside of our studios. Very warm temperatures, 79 degrees. Your partly cloudy skies. Your winds are out of the east-southeast at 7 knots, and that is still bringing in those warm temperatures. So the feels-like temperature also in the mid-upper 70s. Beautiful conditions around the islands today. Very quiet. High pressure remains in charge. Easterly wind flow keeping us a little breezy, but some patchy isolated clouds could lend a few showers later on tonight. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, the House Speaker says, show us some respect. And a woman is killed in a car crash near Barbary Beach. Stay with us.
Why do we have programs on commercial in Spanish?
Unfortunately, the Bahamas and the rest of the English-speaking Caribbean is lumped in with Latin America, and the giant U.S. networks send us Latin American feed into this region.
Oh, so that's what the message means on YouTube and Netflix.
Exactly. Restrictions on regional rights impacts all content providers for Cable Bahamas and our regional partners. The fight is about getting English-speaking content into the Caribbean, which we've been very successful doing with HBO, as well as ESPN Caribbean.
House Speaker Halson Moultrie supporting Seabreeze MP LANISHA ROLLE's firm stance that not all MPs have been given the same level of respect. He pointed to one time in particular where he felt a government official didn't show him respect.
I sat in the front of a person last year who had made a public declaration that he does not believe in God. And he gave me all reasons why no food will be coming into this parliament for the members of the parliament last year. The circumstances have deteriorated since then, but I see food in the parliament this year.
Pine Ridge MP Frederick McAlpine dug into the government over decisions made over its term so far, saying many government MPs will pay for their deeds. McAlpine says the arrogance that the government has displayed to the Bahamian people is coming back to haunt it.
The way some of you who sat and sit in cabinet allowed this economy to depreciate, many of you would not allow your business to operate the way you operated in government. Many of the business decisions this government has made on behalf of the Bahamian people, you would not have made it for yourselves. Bahamas, they're now coming to the peasants that they believe we are, while they strutted around for 4.5 years like prince and princesses.
McAlpine mincing no words in highlighting the government's campaigning, saying it appears the FNM wants people to play forget.
Now you want to convince us it's about our future when you've ignored us in the past while selling us dreams and schemes in the present? Mr. Speaker, now this is an election year and they want us to forget their ignorance, their arrogance, incompetence, offensiveness, disrespect, haughtiness, and self-aggrandization.
The Pine Ridge MP, no stranger to criticizing the government's decisions, says the government has done more blocking than advancing, and that Bahamians will remind them who is really in control.
They want you to believe that we will forget how they put former politicians in handcuffs and even one on crutches, while a citizen who testified in that case, and when he was charged, went to court without even an escort.
Well, a Grand Bahama woman died tragically last evening following a traffic accident near Barbary Beach. Officers say shortly before 6 p.m. yesterday, the wife and mother was driving a white Daihatsu with 2 other occupants when the car collided with a green Ford Fusion driven by another woman.
Both were traveling in the opposite direction, and we had a head-on collision. As a result of that, we had one female occupant, the driver of one of those vehicles, was injured and would have succumbed to her injuries at the scene. Right now, we're in the initial stages of this investigation, but we can most certainly tell you that speed would have played a factor in this accident.
The other driver and occupants were transported to hospital. The car crash on Windermere Drive was the first traffic fatality for the year on Grand Bahama. Superintendent Jeremy Henfield says the island averages 20 car accidents a week.
Unfortunately, today we would have lost a mother, a wife, sister. But again, we want to say to Grand Bahama, the motoring public in Grand Bahama, drive with caution and care. Stay within the speed limit.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Still to come, our Kyle Joaquin dives in for World Oceans Day, plus DeAndre Ayton dominant in a win for the Suns. The details when our news returns.
Why do we have programs on commercial in Spanish?
Unfortunately, the Bahamas and the rest of the English-speaking Caribbean is lumped in with Latin America, and the giant U.S. networks send us Latin American feed into this region.
Oh, so that's what the message means on YouTube and Netflix.
Exactly. Restrictions on regional rights impacts all content providers for Cable Bahamas and our regional partners. The fight is about getting English-speaking content into the Caribbean, which we've been very successful doing with HBO, as well as ESPN Caribbean.
This is our news. Welcome back. It's not every day you get to swim with a few sharks and a giant manta ray. Today, our Kyle Joaquin dove in at Atlantis in celebration of World Oceans Day.
It's a day to raise awareness of the benefits of the ocean and the need to protect it. Over at Atlantis, World Oceans Day is being celebrated all month, where they're giving back, releasing turtles into the ocean, and planting mangroves.
And every year we like to bring some awareness, education, as well as support any activities that we can have happening around the property as well as off property to help promote conservation of our oceans.
This year's World Oceans Day theme is the ocean, life and livelihoods. And speaking of the ocean, we got to hang out with a few of the creatures who call this place home.
So today we're standing in the world's largest open-air aquarium, and affectionately known as the Ruins Tank or the Dig.
So what exactly is in here?
So we have 3 sharks, manta rays.
Oh, we got sharks?
Yeah, we got 3 zebra sharks.
They could come this way?
Yes, they can.
Oh. So we got all suited up, and in the water we went. There's a whole lot of tropical fish, 2 southern stingrays, lobsters, and parrotfish, all chilling right below us. And of course, some swam alongside. Aside from the zebra sharks, the highlight was our good friend Hope, a pretty big manta ray who popped up every now and then to check on us. While she's pretty big and undoubtedly intimidating, she's harmless.
Well, the experience of swimming with the manta is one of a kind, because you won't get to do that anywhere else, especially not in the Bahamas. Because like I said, the manta ray is an animal that tends to migrate. So if you see it out in the ocean, that's a rare find. So getting to swim alongside a manta ray is going to be a one of a kind experience.
It's a beautiful sight down below at the ruins with underwater sculptures of boats, lobster, and other artifacts. Despite our guide Aaron trying to go to another back area.
So you got us in the lobby, right?
Yeah.
What's in the back there?
Oh,
In all, it was a great experience. Atlantis is looking to make the whole month of June a time of appreciation and giving back to the marine environment through its Blue Project.
Different projects around the country, like the mangrove donations, the coral nursery, the propagation that we do here, as well as things like research with different companies around the world.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Thanks, Kyle. Well, after extensive consultation and collaboration, the Reef Committee has completed its action plan. In 2020, the Grand Bahama Port Authority launched the Revitalization and Economic Expansion of Freeport Committee as part of its continuing effort to revitalize Grand Bahama's economy following Hurricane Dorian and during the pandemic. Reef has been working with the government to fulfill critical short-term objectives, including completing the handover of Grand Bahama International Airport, finalizing the extension of the real property tax exemption to all GBPA licensees and residents, updating Freeport bylaws, and supporting the work of the Public Health Authority in the COVID-19 pandemic. And Stephen Gardner back on the track, showing great form. Marcellus Hall has that and more tonight in sports.
All right, thanks a lot and welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. The old saying goes, the quickest way to silence any sort of doubt is to show some action. Certainly that seems to be what Stephen Gardner was trying to do this past weekend. Back on the track after a slight fall, some questions about his health. Well, he erased all those doubts. Let's take a look. Good to see Bahamian Stephen Gardner back on the track in the 400 meters, the currently #1 ranked 400 meter runner in the world in terms of time. Stepping back after taking a tumble in a race in Texas a few weeks back. This had caused some concern in terms of his health, especially heading into the Olympics. But Gardner's naysaying the naysayers, I should say, saying that he was quite fine and stepping onto the track this past weekend to prove just that. And Gardner leaving no doubt that he was definitely back in form, charging straight to the finish line, cruising through with a victory here in 45.06 seconds. Not quite his personal best times, but still showing that he's back in great form, winning comfortably and continuing to progress as the Olympics get even closer. On the way now to some basketball news in the NBA, where last night DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns were in a series, beginning their best-of-7 series after taking down the Lakers in the first round, best-of-7. They now face a tougher task in the form of the Denver Nuggets. You wouldn't know it, though, because they picked up right where they left off. DeAndre, another great performance for the big man as he led his team to a win. They picked up a nice win here. Game 1 goes to the way of the Phoenix Suns. They are serving notice that they will definitely be a force to reckon with in this semifinal series. DeAndre with a huge night, as we mentioned. Taking a look at his stats here, finished up with 20 points, 10 rebounds, 1 steal. And like I said, this is a big game for the young man who has certainly come out in these playoffs and looking pretty strong. They now lead the series best-of-7, 1-0, with Game 2 coming your way. That's going to be on Wednesday against the Denver Nuggets once again. And there it is, your check on sports for you here on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Thanks, Marcellus. When our news returns, why the Bahamas Humane Society is saying no to surrenders. Stay with us.
Why do we have programs on commercial in Spanish?
Unfortunately, the Bahamas and the rest of the English-speaking Caribbean is lumped in with Latin America, and the giant U.S. networks send us Latin American feed into this region.
Oh, so that's what the message means on YouTube and Netflix.
Exactly. Restrictions on regional rights impacts all content providers for Cable Bahamas and our regional partners. The fight is about getting English-speaking content into the Caribbean, which we've been very successful doing with HBO, as well as ESPN Caribbean.
Welcome back to our news. More pleasant conditions ahead. Greg is back in the Weather Center with the details.
Thanks again, Christina, and welcome back for our second look at weather. Around the region, we have that high pressure remaining in charge of our weather, providing those breezy conditions over the next couple of days. That would be the weather pattern across our area. And of course, we could see an isolated shower, maybe even a thunderstorm. National Hurricane Center watching an area down near the southwestern Caribbean for some potential for development over the next couple of days, giving it about a 30% chance. We'll continue to watch that. for the next several days. Boating conditions across the northwest Bahamas. Your winds will be out of the east at 15 knot, seas running 3 to 5 feet over the ocean, while in the central and southeastern Bahamas, that caution flight continues for you down there as well. We expect those winds to be east to 15 to 20 knots, 4 to 6 foot seas expected. High tide will be at 7:42 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Sunday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Well, due to severe overcrowding, the Bahamas Humane Society will not be accepting animals this month, according to the general manager, who's calling on residents to lend a hand. Giorgio Bain reports.
With over 400 animals on property of the Bahamas Humane Society and hundreds in foster care across the island, the facility has reached crisis mode, according to the general manager, Percy Grant, who says residents shouldn't surrender animals this month.
We are over our limit right now with many animals in our shelter, and we are asking the public for the month of June not to surrender animals to us. Animals are surrendered on a daily basis.
Foster homes are hard to come by, and those who are already providing foster care are stretched, according to Grant.
We are in a position now, since COVID, we are feeding more animals every day, people coming for food, for help. We do this mostly to make sure that they hold the animals until we get some space. We have a lot of dogs. A lot of dogs are adopted here as we speak, but we're trying to get them out before we can take in more animals. And this is all a result of people not spaying and neutering.
He called on corporate Bahamas to lend a hand to help the Humane Society get back on its feet.
We are right now in a state where we need extra help as far as food and donations.
The facility partnered with Bark and is currently offering spay and neuter services.
Every other Sunday, they're doing up to 50 spays and neuters.
Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Non-perishable food, water, identification. We know the essentials for hurricane preparedness if we're riding out a storm at home, but what happens if you have to evacuate and head to a shelter where there may be some things you don't plan for?
You have a pet, if the pet is outside or the pet lives with you, you have to take in mind if you have to evacuate, you have to take that pet with you. If you're going to a shelter, you have to prepare for the pet in the shelter, and you have to make sure you go to a shelter that will accept the pet.
Experts say it's best to make a hurricane plan early, including identifying where your pets will be during a hurricane. The breakdown, Are We Ready for the Next Big One?, has insight from local and international experts on how you can plan and prepare this hurricane season. The breakdown airs Monday, June 14th on RTV. Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm KRISTINA DRAGOVICH. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.